Hello, and welcome back to Make Your Mind, where you turn what's in your mind into reality using modeling clay. This is a quick video that I wanted to make just to showcase some of the single color sculptures and molds that I've actually done, actually over the last week, because, I probably have a problem, but it's all good. I think there are a lot worse addictions out there, but here's a showcase real quick on just some of the sculptures I've made. Whenever I make something or have an idea, I usually try to keep it as long as I can so that way I remember it. And here's just a showcase on some of the many sculptures that I have made, I would say over the last week and a half. I would say this is just a quick showcase. I'll be doing a video sort of talking about what gave me the idea and sort of what it's supposed to be and my inspirations towards it. Actually, here, let's move this over to here. Move this over to there. Try to see if I can get all of these into the shot. I have a lot of these in here. I may have to do these in small bursts. There we go. I got that I made. I have this. And I also have this. Yeah, with the pandemic, not gonna lie, I've had quite a bit of time on my hands. One of the things I can do with my hands is make these sculptures. Let me try to see if I can make some room here. There we go. Try to see if I can get all of these into the shot more or less. Try to see if I can stagger these a little bit. There we go, that's a little better. And there, this there, there, and that right there. And now I can add this one. And I can also add, oh yeah, this one. And I can also add this one. I have a lot of these that I've made over the last couple of days. Oh yeah, I've also got, I've got this one, and then I also have this one. I guess that's this is just a quick showcase on some of the models I've made over the last couple of weeks. Well, I guess maybe about a week and a half or so. As you can see, I like guitars, I like cars, and I also like certain weapons, especially video game style weapons. I love, I always have different designs and everything whenever I'm making anything. Like this down here, this was a 4-cylinder engine that I made. As you can see, you got the air filter to the intake manifold going up. Here's the cam cover. Here's the individual cylinders. You got 4 of them. You got the cam cover on the front, and then you have the exhaust, which is a 4-into-2 exhaust that comes out the side. Here's the flywheel. That was just a cool 4-cylinder engine design I came up with, naturally aspirated. Got a bunch of guitars that I designed. These are all bass guitars. I have this guitar, which is meant to look, let me clean that off. That's meant to look sort of like a Fender, sort of like a Stratocaster, more sort of like a Fender Bass 6. As you can see, it's got the individual pickup controls, it's got the volume, the tone, 3 single coil pickups, and then that beautiful Fender style head with the jack plug-in right there and the bridge. That's a cool design. I got a bunch of these. I'll put that to the side there. This was a design. This is actually a design for a bass guitar, and this design actually is based on a real guitar. Sorry, I have a dog, and it's tough to escape the hair. I've had this sitting on my shelf for a little while. But this is a sort of caricature of a Ibanez Ashula bass. It's a hybrid bass where you have frets here, and it's fretless here. Then here's a thumb rest, and this has a piezo pickup system back here with 2 J-bass pickups, and then here's all the controls. Now this is based on a real design called the Ibanez SRAS7. If you ever know what that is, look it up. I may leave a link down in the description below, which I think is just absolutely awesome. Then I have a couple of different ideas. This is a 6-string version that I made. It has 4 strings on top, 2 strings on the bottom, with an extended fretboard for the fretless section. Here's all the control knobs. You got the 2 different bridges, 2 J-bass pickups with a piezo pickup system in the bottom bridge, and then 2 thumb rests so you can play both here and here. So when you're playing it, you can play it like so. It's just a cool design. It'd be cool to see something like this actually be made into reality. That could be something I look into in the future. And I've also got, this is a cool one. This was a custom bass guitar design that I made. The dust. It's got a JPJ pickup design, so it's 3 pickups. It has this cutaway in the body with this deep cutaway so that you can access the full back of the fretboard there. And that's a cool design. It also has stacked controls here and here for bass, middle, and treb, and it's also got these cutaways that go all the way around the body. That's just one of the many designs that I came up with. I may end up making a better version of this in a future video, so stay tuned for that. I've also got a couple of car designs. This was a cool one. This was actually a cool, sporty station wagon. I was inspired by a car... Hang on a second. I was inspired by the Aston Martin V12 Vanquish Zagato Shooting Brake, which is actually a 2-door station wagon. It's a supercar with a V12 engine, rear-wheel drive. It's a multi-million-dollar car, but this is a sort of better version of the Shooting Brake. That is a cool design. I love fast wagons. This is a sort of roofless coupe. Oh no, hang on. This is my version of the Shelby Cobra Daytona Coupe that I designed. Your camera focus. There we go. Yeah, sorry for the dog hair. I'm going to make a sculpture like this in the future, on a future video. I'll show everybody how to make a design like this. This is based on the Shelby Cobra Daytona Coupe that was back in the mid-60s. It had a 289 Ford V8 in the front. It was a coupe. It was an over 200 mile an hour car that raced in Le Mans in 1964 and 1965. And it was very successful. Called the Shelby Cobra Daytona Coupe. It was originally designed by Peter Brock, who's one of my absolute inspirations when it comes to car design. And let's see here. I got a couple others. I got this one. This is a design. This is more sort of like a modernized hypercar in a way. It almost looks sort of like if you think of something like a Koenigsegg Regera or an Apollo IE. That's another, if you're a car guy, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about when it comes to hypercars. But it has this wing that pops out in the front to use as an air brake. It has these sections with vents that flow air throughout the entire car all the way to the back. The intakes here, the lights in the front with the deep splitter. That's just one of the coolest designs. And then this was a race car that I actually designed. This is meant to be a sort of mid-engined, sort of GT-style race car. Check that out. It's got the wing that has the top mount, the swan neck as they call it, so that you have clean airflow on the back. It's got the massive diffuser, big wheels mid-engine with the intake there, another intake there. The exhaust is going to come out here. This was a sort of caricature out of an idea that I made, a mid-engine Viper. I may revisit a design like this in the future with the big GT lights. If you want to see something like this, if you want to see a cool race car sculpt, or you want to see any kind of cool sculpt, I will more than gladly do that for a future video. You probably noticed a couple of things on here. If anybody who was ever a fan of the show Firefly, you'll probably recognize, clean these off, can't escape the dog hair. Probably recognize this design. This is Captain Malcolm Reynolds' pistol. I love it when you see that shot of him with it right up to the camera. And he goes, what is the quote? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. It's like, I've got nothing but hell from this job. I love that design. It's just one of the coolest designs. It has a little clip. It's the real prop gun is actually based on a Taurus Model 25 revolver, which is a little 22 revolver that fits in the body. But that is just one of the coolest designs for a sort of retro future pistol. That's just a cool design. You do the job, and then we get paid. I do miss that show. But I will say, anybody, if you've never watched the show Firefly, or you've never watched the movie Serenity, my God, that is a must-have. Got another. This is a design that I got right here. This is a sort of scout rifle, kind of like what you'd see in the Fallout series. It's got the cut-off stock, cut-off barrel with a scope. It's a bolt action. This is supposed to be a flashlight. It's the kind of rifle you would see somebody from, the Minutemen or somebody from Brotherhood of Steel would be using. Especially in Fallout 4, because you can customize your rifle to look very similar to this. The sort of short scout bolt action 308 hunting rifle. That is just another cool design. Now this design is actually, I'm quite proud of this one. If you've ever played the game Alien Isolation, or you're a fan of the Alien movies in general, you'll recognize what this is. This is the welding tool. It's the tool that Corporal Hicks uses to weld the door shut, to cut the floor open, to do all kinds of things. And in the game Alien Isolation, you use this to cut open panels, to seal doors, and do some just really cool things. But it has this screen on the front, and then this is the welding element with the handle, with the contour grip in the bottom there. That's such a cool design. Now, as you notice, a lot of these are just single color skulls. These are doodles, essentially. This is my doodle sketch pad. Get the camera to focus. There we go. Yeah, these are sort of my doodle sketch pads. Here's a design that I made. This is an electric motorcycle that I made. Go ahead and bend the handlebars back up. It's a single saddle with a single-sided swing arm. This is more of an electric bike, as you can see. The battery pack's in here. You got a motor in the front, motor in the back. Single-sided swing arm. It's got the slight windscreen with a tucked-in headlight. And this would be a battery bike, almost like a Tesla sort of. It almost looks kind of like the Harley-Davidson Livewire that came out a couple months ago. It's actually a newer style motorcycle, but this is sort of my idea of a sort of single-saddle, sporty, fun motorcycle. I may revisit a new design like this in the future, even with full color. Although this one, I have to admit, this motorcycle right here, this one I'm actually quite proud of. I was inspired by a company that came out. There was a motorcycle company that came out a long time ago, back in the teens, the 20s, and the 30s. It was called Crocker. Go ahead and straighten that out real quick. There we go. And Crocker, they made basically they coined themselves as building the first American sport bike. And this was sort of my design of a modern interpretation of a Crocker. It has the V-twin, but as you can see, the exhaust comes out of the center. It's called a Hot V. A lot of people don't know this, but there's a lot of cars that actually have the Hot V design, like Ford Super Duties, they're diesels. They actually have a Hot V design with the exhaust in the middle. The Mercedes AMG GT, all of those cars have the exhaust in the middle. And then you have the individual intakes, one here and one here on the outside of the engine. So the heat's all contained on the center, and then it comes out of the exhaust on the back. This one has a single saddle with a fairly large tank. Single-sided swing arm. Here's where the chain is, with the suspension here. Of course, I got the LED light with the strip in the middle. And I had to put this block underneath because the way this clay is, it doesn't stand up on its own. I may end up I may revisit this one in the future. I think this one I'm obliged to. I just love that sleek, short tail design. If this was a real bike, oh man, this thing would be a showstopper for sure. Let's put that back down. And there you have it. That is a couple of sculptural designs that I made. Oh, I actually have one more here. This is out of the red clay that I actually made. Check this out. This was a dragon that I created. I was watching The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, and I just love that design of Smaug the dragon, especially with the flaps. And it's more of a drake, if you know anything about dragons, where Normally a dragon, it has front feet, back feet, and then the wings, but a drake is where the hands and the wings are both the same, like a bat. And then it has two little fins on the back for stabilizing it in flight. And that is just a cool design. Let me showcase that a little better. Look at that, that's so cool. I'll bend that down so people can see it. That's such a cool design. I love that. I'm very much inspired by. I was inspired as a young child when I was growing up. When I was growing up, I was inspired by people like Stan Winston, Thomas Woodruff, Alec Gillis, Amalgamated Dynamics Incorporated. They make creature effects for movies, especially Stan Winston. Stan Winston is one of my absolute icons. Rest in peace to you, Stan Winston. You still have your school, which I would love to attend one day, but we shall see. I got a couple of other sculptures right here. This is a sort of car model that I made, but a little bit different. This is meant to be like a sort of shape, sort of idea. It's meant to look kind of like the newer style Ford GT, the supercar. It's got the flying buttresses with the gaps. With this one, I got the wing across the entire rear deck. You can see straight through it. And I have this front with this very narrow midsection, a very Coke bottle design. This was just a sort of design exercise that I did just by hand. I mean, if I get some tools and be able to actually make a real sculpt, I would love to try to do something like this bigger. Most definitely. Put that to the side up there. I got a couple other designs. This is a triple humbucker guitar design, kind of like a Fender Bass 6. I do love, that's one of my dream guitars, is the Fender Bass 6. It's basically like a 6-string guitar, but it's tuned 1 octave lower. But this one, now normally the Bass 6 is more like this guitar down here, which has the 3 single coils. However, this has 3 humbuckers, 6 coils. And then this is meant to be a mute that you can press and mute the strings to be able to play very short, almost staccato notes. And that's just a cool design. But that was a quick little showcase of some of the designs that I've done. And in fact, actually not too long ago, a couple minutes ago, I came up with this design. This is of my orange clay that I normally use for videos. This was an exposed gear shift linkage. I was watching a video on the Gordon Murray T50, which if you haven't seen that car, my gosh, stop, go look up that video right now, the Gordon Murray Designs T50. It's the modern interpretation of the McLaren F1. It's one of the absolute coolest cars of all time. This is a manual gear shift with an exposed linkage, kind of like that car, or cars like the Pagani Huayra or the Pagani Zonda, or even something like the Spyker C8 and C12. Those are some really cool cars. But as you can see, I have a problem. I'm constantly coming up with designs, and hopefully with this channel I can be able to showcase some of these designs and actually be able to teach some people how to make designs like this in the future. And here's a quick little preview of a video that I plan to make in the coming future. This is a sculpture that I started. But if anybody can figure out what this is, or what this will become, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I'll be posting a video about that very soon. And to give you a hint, it has something to do with this. But that's about as close as a hint as I can give. You probably recognize what this is, but if you do, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Tell me what it is, and if enough people comment, I will more than gladly make a video showcasing what this will turn into. And with that, if you enjoy sculptures like this and you enjoy this kind of content, please hit that like button down below, subscribe, and make sure to hit the bell icon for notifications so you never miss a new video. And please leave a comment down below on what you think of all these sculptures and also some requests of future videos. And with that, thank you very much for your time if you've watched all the way up to this point. I love you all. Enjoy your day.